CRISPR technology has been around for many years and has been used for many different reasons. CRISPR is a gene editing technology that has caused a major uproar in biomedical research. It makes it so that it is possible to correct errors in a genome of an organism by turning on or off genes in cells in organisms very quickly and cheaply, meaning that it's not using much energy, and it does this relatively easy. And this is important because the human body, it wants to do things as quickly and as efficiently as possible using the least amount of energy. It's always going to go for something that uses less energy than something that uses more energy, so that's why this is effective. So today I am going to talk about how CRISPR is being used by parents to create what is called a designer baby. Designer baby in this case means an embryo that has been genetically modified or gene edited for the sake of producing a child with with specific traits. So this means that unfavorable traits like genetic disorders can be removed, while they can choose favorable traits like intelligence or strength to be added to the embryo's genome. These designer babies are created by modifying DNA fragments to prevent and correct disease causing genetic errors by removing or adding certain types of genes. So here is a figure that kind of just shows. So this would be that human DNA fragment, and then basically what they do is they would take out part of it, as you can see coming in down here, or they would add part of it to the genome in order to get the specific trait that they are looking for. This is often done after fertilization, post-fertilization, in order to gene edit the embryos. So what they are doing when they do this is they are going into the fetus's genome and specifically picking genes and what allele they want to be expressed on that gene once the fetus obviously matures through life. And so here is a figure of just genes and alleles. So obviously these are the genes from each parent, and then the alleles is what specifically is being coded. So this is the gene for eye color, but then one parent gave the brown eye color and one parent gave the blue eye color. So what they would essentially be doing is they would have these genes, and they could go in, they could pick specifically which color they wanted to choose for their child. They could choose, I want my baby to have blue eyes, so they choose the blue eye one, even though it may not be the dominant or more favorable trait. They can either get rid of the brown allele completely or just choose the blue to be more prominent. This is important when it comes, or beneficial when speaking about life-threatening or potentially life-threatening genetic mutations, or ones that would would essentially cause the child to not have a very good quality of life. So they could get rid of that genetic mutation completely from that child's genome. And then I just have a figure here to show an example of what a genetic disorder would look like. This is one that's linked to the sex chromosome, so they inherit it from a parent. And so here you have a mother who's a carrier and then a healthy father, and as the generations go on, obviously since that mother's a carrier, there is the possibility of having that passed on to a kid, and then therefore the kid having that genetic disorder. But with that being said, there are ethical implications, but specifically people are saying that is it right to choose specific genes for a person? Who decides who holds the responsibility of not overdoing it or making it so it is unethical? Especially since it can choose things like intelligence and strength and different things that aren't life-threatening if the child doesn't have the so-called better gene/allele chosen. Also, if this were to become widespread, it would lessen genetic diversity because eventually all of, um, or sorry, it would lessen genetic diversity as mutations would start to disappear. And with mutations, there are such thing as positive mutations. Positive mutations are changes in how a cell works that can sometimes improve the proteins that are in your cells to produce and allow them to adapt to changes in your environment. Sometimes this helps different organisms overcome their environment, which actually ends up helping them survive in the long run. And then there's negative mutations, which are obviously mutations that harm the organism. Sometimes they're life-threatening. Sometimes they just cause different things that make the organism less viable. And then here is a figure of a mutation that happens during meiosis. And so this is when the cells split. It doesn't split correctly. So then you have one over here that's just left empty. That's just one type of mutation that can occur. And obviously that's not a good one because it leaves it so the daughter cells do not divide the way they are supposed to and creates non-viable daughter cells when in meiosis. Overall, this could be a very beneficial technology as it could help decrease genetic disorders that are common in families, giving hope to new families that never thought they could have children. There was one study where they did do this and it created embryos to turn into fetuses that no longer were susceptible to HIV. So this could be a very positive for that reason. But then obviously the other side of it is the ethical implication of people going too far and basically just picking exactly what their kid is going to be like, lessening that genetic variation, but also just going above and beyond. And yeah.